Have you ever caught yourself stuck in a loop of negative thoughts? You wake up already stressed, replaying that awkward thing you said last week. Or you're about to try something new, and your brain whispers, "You're going to fail. Don't even bother." It feels harmless, right? Just thoughts. But here's the truth. Negative thinking is like poison. It doesn't scream, it doesn't leave scars, but it quietly eats away at your confidence, your energy, your ability to act. And the scary part, most people don't even notice it happening until their life feels smaller, weaker, more controlled by fear. Machiavelli, the master of power, warned us about this centuries ago. He knew that the first battlefield isn't out there with enemies. It's in your own mind. If you lose that fight, you've already lost the war. But there's a way to flip the script. A rule so sharp, it cuts straight through negativity and rewires your mind for strength. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how to use it. Negative thinking doesn't show up wearing a villain's mask. It creeps in quietly, disguised as being realistic or just protecting yourself. You miss a shot, and your brain says, "See, you're not good enough." You think about starting a project, and the thought shows up, "Why bother? You'll probably fail anyway." It feels like common sense, but it's really sabotage. Here's the problem. Negative thoughts don't just live in your head, they shape your entire reality. When you constantly expect failure, you hesitate. When you hesitate, you miss chances. And when you miss chances, life confirms what you already believed. "See, I knew it. I can't win." That cycle gets stronger every time. It's like handing your enemy a weapon and begging them to use it against you. Machiavelli understood this perfectly. He believed weakness always begins in the mind before it's exposed to the world. Think about it. No ruler, no leader, no warrior ever lost a battle before first losing confidence. And once you project that weakness, the world picks up on it instantly. People respect strength and certainty, not hesitation and self-doubt. What makes negative thinking so dangerous is that it's invisible. If someone insults you to your face, at least you know what you're fighting. But when the attack comes from your own thoughts, you don't resist, you accept it. And that silent acceptance destroys more potential than any outside enemy ever could. But here's the flip side. If weakness begins in the mind, then so does strength. The same way negative thoughts repeat and spiral, empowering thoughts can loop and reinforce your power. The trick isn't to fight thoughts head on. It's to replace them with something stronger, something sharper. So how do we do that? That's where Machiavelli's rule of mental power comes in. The law that lets you take back control of your inner world before anyone else can control it for you. Machiavelli had one brutal insight that explains almost everything about power. Control perception, and you control reality. Most people think this only applies to politics leaders or enemies. But here's the twist. It applies inside your own head first. Think about it. If you constantly perceive yourself as weak, unlucky, or unworthy, that becomes your reality. You start acting smaller, hesitating more, letting opportunities slip. And once the outside world sees you hesitate, they treat you exactly how you see yourself. Your private perception becomes everyone else's public truth. That's why Machiavelli's rule is so ruthless. If you can't master your own perception, someone else will master it for you. And once that happens, you're no longer living your life. You're just reacting to the story other people wrote for you. In today's world, this is everywhere. Scroll through social media and you'll see it. People drowning in negativity, comparing themselves to highlight reels, letting strangers dictate how they feel about their own lives. Or at work. One piece of criticism, and suddenly your brain twists it into, "I'm not good enough. I'll never succeed here." That thought spreads like a virus until your actions reflect it. But here's the power move. Perception is a lens, not reality. Machiavelli would say, if you can shape the lens, you shape the outcome. The enemy isn't the thought itself, it's your unfiltered acceptance of it. Once you realize that, negative thinking loses its grip, because suddenly you see it for what it is, just noise, just a frame your mind built. And if you built it, you can rebuild it. But knowing this rule isn't enough. You can't just nod your head and say, okay, I'll think positive now. That's like bringing a sword to battle but never swinging it. You need a method, a way to actively rewire those loops and turn your thoughts into weapons of power instead of chains that hold you down. And that's exactly what we'll build next. Here's the truth. You can't just stop negative thoughts. That's like telling a storm to quit raining. The mind doesn't work that way. But what you can do, and what Machiavelli would demand, is redirect them. Twist the blade so it cuts for you, not against you. The method is simple, but brutal. Catch, cut, and replace. Step 1. Catch. Most negative thinking is automatic. You don't even notice it. The first step is awareness. When your brain whispers, "You're going to fail," pause. Don't argue, don't panic, just catch it in the act. Label it. That's a negative thought. That's poison. Step 2. Cut. Here's where Machiavelli's ruthlessness comes in. Once you catch it, don't entertain it. Don't analyze it. Cut it down immediately. Imagine that thought as an enemy soldier that slipped past the gate. You don't negotiate, you strike. A simple phrase like, "not mine," or "cut," creates a break. It interrupts the spiral before it builds momentum. Step 3. Replace. This is the most important part. A void will always be filled. If you don't replace the thought, another negative one will slide in. Instead, drop in a counter command. If the thought was, "You're not ready," replace it with, "I'm learning, I'm getting sharper every day." If it was, "You're going to fail," replace it with, "I'll adapt and I'll win." The goal isn't cheesy affirmations, it's believable, empowering counterstrikes. At first, this feels mechanical, awkward even. But repetition is how you rewire. Every time you replace a thought, you carve a new pathway. And just like training a muscle, that pathway grows stronger until it becomes your default. Machiavelli knew rulers stayed in power by controlling the story. You can do the same inside your head. Negative thoughts will still appear. But now, instead of being ambushed, you'll be armed. And every time you catch, cut, and replace, you sharpen your mental blade. This is how thoughts stop being chains and start becoming weapons. So far, we've been talking about the battle inside your own head. But let's be real. Some of the worst negativity doesn't come from you. It comes from the people around you. Friends who secretly doubt you. Family who tells you to be realistic. Coworkers who throw shade the second you try to do something different. Here's the Machiavellian truth. If you don't know how to handle other people's negativity, you'll end up carrying their poison as if it were your own. And that poison spreads fast. The first move, don't defend yourself. That's where most people mess up. Someone says, "You'll never pull this off," and instantly you rush to explain, justify, or prove yourself. But the second you defend, you're already on their battlefield. You've accepted their frame, and Machiavelli would tell you, once you fight on their terms, you've already lost. Instead, you neutralize. How? By controlling your reaction. A calm nod, a smirk, maybe even silence. When you don't feed negativity, it starves. Most haters expect a fight. They want to see you rattled. Don't give them that. Show them nothing but composure. In their mind, that's unsettling. It flips the power dynamic. But what about people you can't avoid? Family, co-workers, someone you see every day. Here's where strategy matters. Limit their influence. If someone keeps pouring poison into your ear, you don't argue. you filter. You mentally label their words the same way you label your own negative thoughts. Not mine. Their doubt is not your truth. And here's a power play most people never use. Turn it into fuel. Every time someone says, "You can't," treat it as free energy. Machiavelli said it best. Opposition sharpens rulers. Use their doubt to double your drive. Don't tell them you'll prove them wrong. Show it by becoming undeniable. Because here's the bottom line. People will always project their fears onto you. That's not your problem. Your only job is to make sure their weakness doesn't become your mindset. Handle their negativity with strength, and you'll not only protect your mind, you'll make them respect you without saying a word. Up until now, we've been dissecting negativity, where it comes from, how it sneaks into your mind, and how to cut it out. But here's the real prize. Once you master this, you don't just survive negativity, you transform because of it. Most people live like victims of their own minds. They wake up already defeated, waiting for life to go easier. They let other people's opinions weigh them down, let one bad thought ruin a whole day. That's the victim mindset, powerless, reactive, trapped. But when you start applying Machiavelli's rule, catch, cut, replace, refusing to defend yourself against other people's poison, choosing your own frame instead of living in theirs, something changes. Slowly at first, then dramatically, you stop being the victim and you become the master. What does that look like in real life? Imagine you're walking into a meeting. Old you would panic. What if I mess up? What if they think I'm not smart enough? That's victim thinking. Master. You walks in and says, "I have value." They'll see it. And if they don't, I'll still own the room. The energy is completely different, and people can feel it. Or think about relationships. Victim you overthinks every text, worries about being too much or not enough. Master, you knows your worth, sets boundaries, and doesn't chase approval. That shift alone changes how others treat you, because respect always follows self-respect. This transformation doesn't mean negativity disappears. No, it means you use it. When fear shows up, you use it as a signal. Good. I'm stepping outside my comfort zone. When someone doubts you, you let it sharpen your focus instead of crushing your spirit. That's the real rewiring. You've gone from being a slave to your thoughts, to ruling them like a kingdom, from constantly reacting to life to designing it on your terms. And once you taste that power, there's no going back. Here's the truth. Rewiring your mind isn't just about stopping negative thoughts. It's about claiming the kind of life those thoughts have been stealing from you. Because every moment you let negativity run the show, you're living a smaller version of your life. A version that's safe, comfortable, predictable, but powerless. Machiavelli believed power is never given, it's taken. And the same rule applies inside your own head. Nobody is going to walk into your life and magically silence that critical voice for you. No book, no guru, no motivational quote can fight the battle you're supposed to fight. The responsibility and the reward is yours. So, what does life look like when you finally flip the script? Imagine walking into a room without rehearsing every possible failure in your head. Imagine speaking, acting, deciding, without carrying the weight of, what if I'm not enough? Imagine every challenge not as proof of your weakness, but as an arena to flex your strength. That's the shift. That's freedom. It doesn't mean you'll never feel doubt again. Doubt is human. But when you've built the habit of countering, rewiring, and reclaiming, doubt no longer controls you. It becomes background noise, like static on a radio you barely notice. The real music, the real rhythm of your life comes from action, not hesitation. And here's the kicker. When you live with this kind of mental power, The world responds differently to you. People sense it. They respect it. They trust you more, follow you more, and try less to manipulate you because you project strength that can't be easily broken. That's what Machiavelli meant when he said the foundation of power is perception. You've rebuilt yours from the inside out, and once you live this way, with clarity, with resilience, with that quiet, unshakable edge, you don't just survive life, you dominate it. So stop waiting. Stop letting that inner enemy dictate your story. Today is the day you take back your mind, your power, your life.